We should be live right now. Fingers crossed that worked. Um, but hope everyone's doing well. Welcome to the week 6 live stream all about the Age of Revelation. I can't believe it's been 6 weeks since the start of the Age of Revelation. 5 weeks. Well, this is the 5th live stream. I know it's a bit confusing with week 6, but 5th live stream, but here we are. But yeah, I hope everyone is doing good on this Sunday evening. I know it's a bit of an earlier one. Um, just sort of suited things better to do it now rather than waiting a few more hours. And yeah, just thought I'd do it a bit earlier. Maybe a few more people can join it live. Fingers crossed. Again, I can't see who is in the who is watching. So if you are watching, let me know by putting a message into the chat, just so I know. Because I'm using a different software, so I can't exactly see who is on the live stream now. But I hope everyone is doing good. How are people feeling about Age of Revelation so far? Let me know um, how you feel that's going. I'm really curious. I think it's been going all right. We've had better events, definitely. We've had worse events though, for sure. Um, it's just interesting event. But as you'll see today, there's some interesting things with this week's books. Um, so yeah. But with that being done, I might as well just jump right into it. Um, so as usual, let me just get the spoilers thing up because obviously we're getting spoilers. And if you haven't been aware, this week's books are Amazing X-Men issue 2, Binary issue 2, Sabretooth issue 2, and Longshots issue 2. So with this event, all the series are just 3 issues long. So we're already at the midpoint for these books. So really, this is probably the the telling point of whether they're good books or they're not good books. Um, but okay, but with that, we'll start with the first book, which is Amazing X-Men issue 2, written by Jed MacKay with art by Mahmoud Azra. And if you were here or if you've seen my very first live stream of the Age of Revelation, I talked about issue 1 of Amazing X-Men, and I was a big fan of that. So I guess lots to live up to. And to be fair, I think it carried on the momentum, you know. So um, with this issue, obviously last issue they were on the run from Wolverine, from Logan, who's being controlled by Revelation, the big bad. And they managed to get to the school, the former school, and got they were able to teleport away, all the way. They were hoping to go to Philadelphia, which is like the capital of the new mutant land, but they ended up in the Limbo Land instead, which is Rhode Island, I think. I think it says in this issue. And that is an area of land now controlled by the Darkchild, who is magic, Ileana Rasputina. But a few years ago from this future, so a few years previously, magic had been killed during a mission, but the Darkchild lives on. So that's where we pick up, essentially. And let me just click on that. Okay. So we pick up with them there, and pretty much we see that Darkchild has Juggernaut as as like her Prince of Darkness, I believe she calls him. Obviously they're quite close um, on the X-Men team in the present, and judging from here, Juggernaut is pretty in denial about Ileana being dead. He's very in denial about that. And so we've got a bit of fighting in the beginning. You know, we've got Animalia turning into different creatures like a woolly mammoth and a snow tiger. It's very much reminds me of that one character from Kung Fu Panda. I can't remember their name, but that bottom panel of Animalia reminds me of that character from Kung Fu Panda. But anyway, so they fight, um, and obviously Beast realizes, oh no, this isn't magic. This is the Darkchild. And as we learn, as part of this Limbo Lands, the sort of main function or the main thing that happens in this Limbo Lands is that the Darkchild can protect the people that live there from Revelation, from the X virus. So there's a lot of humans in this place because they're safe from all the other threats. However, um, their work, what sort of Darkchild works in, is misery. So essentially, all these people go to work and they live their lives, but they're all just miserable. Everything is miserable. Um, yeah, just miserable. So people are missing deadlines. People are stressed out. Blah 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 blah. Like it's just, I guess, depression essentially. But that's the price they have to pay to live in the Limbo Lands and be safe from all the other bad things that are going on in America. So, would you rather be potentially killed by the X virus, turned into a mutant, or I don't know, killed by Revelation, or just be depressed and constantly, constantly, constantly miserable? There's no real, you're not, no one's winning. No one's winning in this future. But yeah, so basically she just makes people miserable. But then Cyclops, who is the Cyclops from the present, is like, look, we need to get to Philadelphia. You, obviously, Magic's main ability is to teleport. So he's like, can you teleport us to Philadelphia? That's where we need to go. And so she's like, okay, let's have a duel. If you win, I'll teleport you. If you lose, I get to keep one of your X-Men forever. And Cyclops is like, okay, sure. But this isn't any old duel with swords. It's um it's all about truths. Um so I don't really know how, I guess this is magic stuff. But essentially they say a truth to each other, and if it surprises them or something, it hurts them. I don't know, like the sharp, like deep cutting truths. So Darkchild starts by saying, "Oh, Cyclops, all these X-Men think you're a joke," and like he gets pushed back. So I guess that's how this works. I've never seen this um in my life, but I guess it's a form of magic duel. So yeah, the first one, you're a joke, blah blah blah, and then Cyclops, he says some things back, but it doesn't really work. Um, she then also says, "Oh, your failure is the reason why all these millions of people are dead and Revelation succeeded," and he's like suffering again. Like he's like not doing well. He's about to be beaten. Um, and yeah, and then like Cyclops tries fighting back by going like, "Oh, that was this body's fault, but not me. Like I've got the mind of my present. I can avoid this," and like it doesn't even hurt Darkchild. Like it's nothing. And then she finally goes, "Oh, you abandoned your wife and your child without a second thought," which is obviously a reference to um, X Factor issue 1, and Madeline Pryor in Cable, way back when. We're going back 40 years now. Love that it's still relevant now. I'm always on the side of Madeline Pryor, and like he gets absolutely launched. So it's just not looking good for Cyclops, right? It's just not looking good. Um, and then a truth. So I can do. So right. So yeah, he's really suffering, and then basically the Dark Child reveals to him that these X-Men that brought him to the future never actually intended for him to succeed, and we learn that him being taken to this future was was never the plan. Like obviously, it was presented to him as the plan that they bring him to the future, and he's there to stop it or to see what happens and then get teleported back. But in actuality, it's the reverse. So, although in previous videos I've said this is like a reverse Days of Future Past, where it's actually them going to the future to stop the future, it's in actuality just the reverse, where future Cyclops has gone back in time into present Cyclops' body, and he's going to go there to kill Revelation. And I believe we'll see the aftermath. We'll see what happens in the present in X-Men issue 23, which comes out in January. But yeah, so basically that's the truth, is that present Cyclops is just a bit of collateral damage so that they could get their future Cyclops to go back in the past and do what needs to be done. But it turns out that Cyclops isn't actually hurt by this truth, because he figured it out immediately. He says like, "Oh, I would have done this too," and the X-Men all shocked because they're like, "Oh my gosh!" Um, and then Cyclops delivers. He finally understands the truth. Well, he finally understands the point of the game, and like absolutely decimates the Darkchild by saying a truth that the Darkchild is that exists to protect Ileana Rasputina, and obviously as Magic's dead, the Darkchild's failed to do what it was meant to do, and that like knocks her out. So yay, Cyclops wins, and then he also gives a rousing bit of a speech saying like, "I can do anything, you know, I can do anything as long as I've got my X-Men with me. I can do anything. So don't give up on me because I'm Cyclops, right? I'm the leader of the X-Men, essentially." What he says, and then we're like, "Wow, it's Cyclops! Oh my God, we can believe in him!" Like, there's all just a bit of hope in the group, and then also, I've seen this discussed around a bit. There's rumblings, there's theories that Beast, because obviously Beast as well has been taken from the present to the future, and so I'm assuming the same happened in the reverse, that where future Beast went back to the past. But the way he's acting, the way he's seeming a bit surprised or like wowed by how Cyclops is and how like awe-inspiring he is, people are actually thinking that this isn't Beast on the X-Men. This is actually the Krakoa era Beast who became a war criminal and was doing all the bad stuff on Krakoa, killing people and being a war criminal. People are suggesting that maybe he wasn't actually dead, and that Krakoa era Beast. Now, stay with me, stay with me. It gets a little bit confusing. That Krakoa era Beast has been alive this whole time, and this has been a theory before this as well. That Krakoa era Beast is actually the chairman, who's part of 3K. So 3K have been like the main bads behind Jed McKay's main X-Men series. We've seen all four members now. Obviously, we've got Cassandra Nova, Astra, who clones Magneto into Joseph's. We've got Wire, who's like an um, really obscure Alpha Flight villain, and then we've also got the chairman, but we've never seen the chairman's face. We've never had any like clues as to who the chairman actually is, and so there were a lot of theories that actually the chairman is Krakoa era Beast. He's still alive. When he was murdered, it was like, I think it was like an explosion, but we never actually saw a body, right? We never, whenever you don't see a body, that's never like 100% confirmation that they're dead. Okay, well, I mean, even if you see the body, it's never like they can't come back in comics. So there's always been this theory that maybe Krakoa era Beast is the chairman, which I think would be a fun twist. Um, but now people are thinking that when they did the whole mind swap thing, they didn't swap it with 90s or 80s Beast, as I suspected, and we all, you assume, but we actually swapped it with um, Krakoa era Beast, who's actually the chairman. So now there's someone on the inside of 3K, which is interesting. So yeah, that's just a theory. I don't know whether that's true. You can always let me know if you think that that's true. If you're watching live, if you're watching on the replay, let me know if you agree with this idea that maybe Beast here is actually Evil Beast. We'll see. And I mean, it might make sense considering I think issue 24, which is the next, it's like they're the two epilogue issues of Age of Revelation in January. One of them is all about 3K. So it's a potential. Now, anyway, in the final bit, obviously, Psylocke was here as well. She after finding out the truth about Revelation, she was like, I guess she ran off to the Limberlands, and then Cyclops is like, oh, you can join too, and she's like, oh, I know this secret about what Revelation wants to do, and then essentially, Revelation is planning to end the world, which is, I guess, a surprise. I mean, you can kind of just guess that already. I'm more curious of like how he plans to end the world and like why he plans. Like, what's the why and the how? That's what I want to know, not the what. Why and the how. Um, so yeah, so that's the full issue. That we've got more of the team together, um, which is fun. But yeah, so that's Amazing X-Men issue 2. Again, I did enjoy this issue. I think Mahmoud Asrar's art is really, really beautiful. It looks really good. You can never go wrong with art. See, the thing about art is like you can, if there's bad writing but good art, you can still read it. But if there's good writing but bad art, you're less likely to read it. That's what I found. So although it is a very 50-50 bet, and I think sometimes we put too much like emphasis on the writer, really the art goes a long way as well. Like that's really make or break. But Mahmoud Asrar's art is amazing, and I think the plot by Jed McKay is good as well. Obviously, crazy big reveal that the whole reverse Days of Future Past plan was a lie, and it's actually the reverse, and that sort of present Cyclops is here just as collateral damage, and that's interesting. Um, Also loved Magic getting that lick in for Madeline Pryor. It's been 40 years, and she didn't even really know of Madeline Pryor back then. So gag. But yeah, so I really enjoyed this issue again. It is the main like plot book, if you want to say, because it's obviously following the main team written by the main creative person. So I sort of already had those high hopes, but it's good to see. So yeah, that's Amazing X-Men issue 2. If anyone has any comments, questions, feelings, theories about Amazing X-Men issue 2, let me know. And then I will get on to the next issue, which is Binary issue 2. Let me get that up there. Um, okay, Binary issue 2. This is Binary issue 2 by Stephanie Phillips and Giada Belviso. So as we sort of learned in issue 1, um, Jean Grey is no longer the Phoenix. It's Carol Danvers is the Phoenix, hence the title Binary. So she's now the host of the Phoenix Force, which is crazy. And what she's decided to do with her power is go to her hometown in Massachusetts and put up a force field to protect all the citizens there from the X virus and from Revelation, and just keep them safe. But the people in the town are very ungrateful because they're like, we don't know what you're keeping. You tell us that you're protecting us, but we can't tell. Essentially, they just see Carol as a dictator. Um, and then someone is teaming up with someone that looks an awful lot like a certain redhead, to undermine Carol, and that's where we left it. So we open this issue, we're finding out exactly what happened to Jean in the for her to be dead. So take us way back 9 years to the Age of Revelation year 1, and it turns out that the X virus, well, Jean was afraid that it was going to spread to space, and so she was putting up a sort of force field to protect Earth, well, protect the universe from the rapid spread of the X virus. And in the process of doing that, she obviously put this force field, and it killed, I guess, the strain or the X virus, um, killed her. I'm a little confused on on the logistics of this, because I don't understand really how the X virus is so dangerous that it, whatever this was killed Jean. Also, as we know from the X virus, it's not even spread across all of America yet. It's been 10 years and it's spread 50%. Like, but Jean was afraid in year one that it was going to spread to space. I mean, unless what she did like really slowed it down, um, it's left me a bit confused on how on the sort of function of that. Like, really, the X virus is going to kill Jean Grey. Okay, okay, but it is what it is. And so Carol was there and saw Jean self-sacrifice herself for the 20th millionth time, and I guess that's when Carol became the next host of the Phoenix Force. So I guess at least it's cool to see, um, what happened to Jean, um, in the Age of Revelation, and why she's not present in her body. And that this is also good because I believe I'm planning a Age of Revelation sort of timeline video once everything is out. So in January, instead of doing like a complete like thing of everything, I thought I'd structure a bit differently and do like a timeline of everything and put it all in the chronological order, because obviously everything is spread out and going from 5 years to 10 years to year one to year four. Thought I would just do it like that. So at least I know I can put this at more of the start. So yeah, that happened like 9 years ago, and in the present, there was like a breach in the force field, led by the mysterious red-headed woman, and a bunch of babies escaped. But obviously, Carol, with her super cosmic firepower, saved the day. Um, and then we see some of the humans inside from the town are like, yeah, we've got this bomb here, and we're gonna put it next to her and she's gonna blow up and we're gonna kill her, right? They're like, yeah, let's kill her. Which I guess if you've been trapped in the same town for like 10 years and this one person's telling you it's too dangerous out there, don't go out there, and like all you can do is trust them, but you're not allowed to do anything, and there's no, like, you don't have any communication with it. I can sort of see, but I'm also like, girl, she's just protecting you from even worse things outside. But anyway, this guy's got a bomb that was given to him by the red-headed woman, who we'll get to in a bit. And they're like, oh, we're gonna blow her up. And they do try and blow her up, but obviously Carol is the Phoenix now, so I don't really know what they thought was gonna happen. And as Carol discovers, and as has been said, like 50 times over the past like 2 years at this point, that Jean Jean Grey is the Phoenix and the Phoenix is Jean Grey. They're one and the same, they're part of the same circle. So even though Jean's body is currently non-existent, she's still there as part of the Phoenix, and they have a nice conversation, and Jean as the Phoenix took control of the situation and saved um, Carol from getting murdered, because she has obviously better control. But I mean, is this really a surprise? No, but I guess it is nice to just get extra confirmation that, again, that Jean is the Phoenix. Like, the Phoenix isn't, they're one and the same. They're part of the same, you know, circle that is kind of confusing because it involves like time travel and out of time and space stuff. But what have you? But there we go. So Jean's dead, but is she really dead because she's the Phoenix? There we go. And then big surprise at the end. Speaking of Madeline Pryor, it turns out that that mysterious red-headed woman, as I had predicted straight from the beginning, is Madeline Pryor, aka the Goblin Queen, aka the Queen of Limbo, probably most well known to people now because of X-Men '97. But here she is in all of her glory. And for some reason, Carol was like, Jean, like, girl, be serious. Jean is not wearing that outfit. But yeah. So the Queen of Limbo has come, and this is actually quite interesting because I believe Carol first actually met Madeline before she ever met Jean, because Madeline debuted in Uncanny X-Men 168, and that was around the same time that Rogue came in and Binary was there with the binary had just happened like the issue or two before, and so she was sort of part of the X-Men. So they actually first met. So the fact that that Carol first sees Maddie and but thinks she's Jean is kind of funny. But yeah, so am I surprised to see Madeline here? No, I'm excited, but I'm kind of scared because obviously Maddie's been portrayed as a sort of more villainous person here. I wonder what she's doing here. Maybe she's trying to claim the Phoenix for herself. Um, but you know, I always love to see Madeline included in the X-Men, as she deserves. So that's always exciting. But yeah, again, I think the art by Giada Belviso is stunning. I mean, look at this. Look at this. Literally stunning. Stunning. Yeah, just stunning, stunning, stunning work. Um, yeah, I just wish this was like on the that Giada was on the like main Phoenix book, to be fair. Like it just beautiful. The writing, the story, interesting. Like again, I like the whole Jean is the Phoenix. I like that whole conversation between Jean and Carol and like her surprise. But I didn't really buy the whole like, oh, Jean died sacrificing herself to prevent the X virus from going to space. Like what? Huh? Uh, that just doesn't feel true to me. But it is what it is to get to get Jean out of the way and get Carol as binary. Um, yeah, it was okay. It was good. I enjoyed it. I think. Yeah. Um, so that's binary issue 2. If anyone's got any more thoughts on what Maddie might be doing, or how would you feel about Carol being the next Phoenix host as binary? Do you think she's doing a good job? Would you? Okay, this is a question for people whether you see it now on the live or you are watching this on the replay. If you had the power of the Phoenix and you were living in the Age of Revelation, would you do what Carol did and put a bubble around your hometown and be like, look, I'm gonna keep you safe in here, but only you guys, or would you do something different? Because I just feel like as the host of the Phoenix Force, she could probably do something more. I don't know, is that a crazy suggestion? I just think she could be doing more, but to each their own, and Carol clearly doesn't care about anywhere other than this town in Massachusetts. Um, but yeah, so that's binary 2. So again, if you got any comments, questions, feelings, let me know. Put them in the comments or what have you. And then we'll go on to the third book, which is Laura Kinney, Sabretooth. Interesting, interesting, interesting. Um, So this book again is by Erica Schultz and Valentina Pinta, Pinty, Pinty, sorry. Um, and so picking up from last issue, obviously in this future, Laura is no longer going by Wolverine. She's now Sabretooth because she got married to the son of Sabretooth, this guy called Zane, who's never existed before. Never existed before. He's dead before the series begins. He's literally the Taken. He's literally the wife in Taken, right? Doesn't even exist. Like he was meant to die. Um, I think does the wife in Taken die? Does Famke Janssen is the wife in Taken? Oh my God, Jean Grey. Anyway, so yeah, and so she took the Sabretooth mantle on in his honor, but she's also working for Revelation. She's like one of his agents, and she just given her because she's also got a son called Alex. She's given her son to her sister and her brother Gabby and Akiram because they're gonna leave America. They're gonna leave the Revelation territories because it's not safe. And she's like, okay, take my son with you because it's probably safe for him out there. And then Hellion, like Hellion like interrupts and goes, "I know what you're doing. Like this is more suspicious." And then Laura just stabs him through the heart and he dies. Um, so yeah, that's where issue 1 left off. Um, so as we see here, Revelation has a mission for Laura, and he's like, "You have to stop the people." So Akihiro, Gabby, her son, and all these other mutants from leaving because Sage had like created this portal or thing to teleport them around the world. Um, and so he's using his Bene Gesserit voice, where whatever he says, you just do, and he's basically like, you've got to stop these people from doing that, and he's also a bit like, oh, Hellion, I wanted Hellion to do it, but he's not showing up because obviously he's dead. So yeah, so that's that, and then there's apparently a place in this new Revelation territories called Helicarrierville, which I guess is where the Shield Helicarriers fell. And there's Sage here being like, I built this portal. We're gonna go to different places, Canada, California, and then Araco. So Canada, um, which is obviously not in the thing. California is the new like capital. San Francisco is the new capital of America, so I guess that's safe. And then Araco obviously is formerly Mars, currently where Apocalypse and a bunch of other mutants and humans live. They've got different sort of different rules on Araco. It's all about, fighting and proving your worth, um, and being a warrior. And so a lot of humans live on there now, as we've seen in previous issues, that in this Age of Revelation timeline. Um, Lots of humans live there. And like Craig Marshall, if anyone was reading X-Men Red, and you remember Storm used to briefly date Craig of NASA, he was a NASA space astronaut. Turns out in this future, he's now the mayor of a place. I can't remember where. But yes. So anyway, so Sage is, telling everyone, okay, we're gonna go here, 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 blah, 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 blah. But then Laura, the Vanisher, and a bunch of other of Revelations people turn up and they're like, "You're not allowed to go. It's too dangerous for you out there. You got to stay here." All bad people vibes. And they all fight. There's a load of fighting. Blah blah blah. There's fighting. Gabby and Akihiro fight too. They're chopping hands off, chopping legs off, what have you. But then Laura goes all the way up and literally kills Sage. Obviously, she's still under the mind control. Um, so yeah, so she was under the mind control. So we can't really blame her. Like she was sort of controlled to stop it, but she's then having this bit of a crisis of like, oh my God, I can see what what Revelation's doing. Uh-oh, bad things. But Sage is dead, R.I.P. Sage. And then everyone has managed to a lot of people have managed to go through the gate, including Gabby, Wolverine, and her son, and Shark Girl, and a bunch of other mutants. But instead of going to all the other places, they all just went to Araco. So we're finally visiting Araco again. Yay! Um, so yeah, they've all got there, and then no surprise. Um, Apocalypse turns up and he wants the tea. He wants the tea and what's happening with the Revelation and all that. So yeah, so that's the intriguing side of that. I am curious to see more of Apocalypse. Obviously, he's been he's literally not been in the From the Ashes era at all. At the end of Krakoa, he got all mad that everyone was giving up and he like fucked off. Oh, and he made Apocalypse. He made Doug Revelation, and that was it. So it's going to be interesting to see what he's saying now. He looks a bit older, a bit more disheveled, unfortunately. But this is fun. I do like Araco. Araco was like one of the peak. I still say the peak of Krakoa, even though I think all of it was a better, brighter time. But I think the peak of Krakoa really was that Hellfire Gala 2021, Planet Size X-Men, where we post Ten of Swords, where Arakko had come to Earth, but then the revelation that they'd terraformed Mars and made Mars into Arakko and moved everyone there. That was like just peak comics, and I'm just so happy that I got to live through that and be there. And I crave for that day every day. I crave for that time back every day. But anyway, so yeah, so that's where the book leaves off. Laura and not Laura, Wolverine and Gabby are on Arakko with a bunch of people, and they might have to fight. And I think that might be interesting because I don't think Apocalypse ever interacted with either Akihiro or Gabby, so that might be interesting things there. But that's really the end of that issue. It's not really grabbing me too much, but we'll get to that more in the ranking. Probably probably everyone's favorite bit, right, of the whole live streams is the ranking. So I will get to that in a bit, and then but now we've come to the the final the final the final book, which is Longshot, Longshots, Longshots issue 2 by Jonathan Hickman, former, creator of House of X Powers of 10, Jerry Duggan, former writer of Marauders and X-Men, with art by Alan Robinson. Now, I'm trying to think, where did we pick up with last issue? So, obviously, in the Age of Revelation, things are bad for a lot of people, including Mojo from Mojo World, obviously obsessed with television, obsessed with ratings, obsessed with all that stuff. And he's realized, oh no, with this, end of the world, there's no more. Sorry, there's no more TV. We got to make one final TV show that will bring in all the ratings. And they get a few different bounty hunters. So they get Hellcat, Wonder Man, Bishop, Rhino, and Craven, which is such a random thing, and they're called the Longshots, and they're sent on this mission to go to like a power supply station thing. And also Longshot is there in the background, obviously former X-Man, who very 80s David Bowie core, is sort of mad that he's not been included, but he wants to be included, but he wants to be paid, and Spiral is like his agent. It's very wacky, very meta, and this issue continues that further. So we open the book with the X Babies. So these were like created in the 80s by Mojo as like a sort of commentary of the whole the Muppet Babies, and everything in the 80s apparently at this point was being like really just babified, and they were really popular. So he created the X Babies, and they're discussing what's happened. And I really just love the main thing I remember from this bit is just the reference of the rotten Dabari, which is just in the real world, um we have rotten tomatoes, and then on here we've got this whole joke about rotten Dabari, which look like broccoli, but the Dabari are the people that Jean Grey ate or killed in the Dark Phoenix saga. So I just love that. Like that's one of those jokes that's just yeah. I kind of ruined it now that I've explained it, but I laughed. I chuckled. So yeah, so we got these ex-babies just discussing things about what's happened, and then we go to the team. They've found the place, and they've been fighting a bunch of the Technarchy, a bunch of these warlock creatures, and they get to it. And then here's another joke. I think the main thing I enjoyed about this book is that it is just silly. I think in the first issue I was a bit taken aback by it, but now that I know that this book is silly, I enjoy it more. And there's another joke here where the writing on the wall on the door is in Krakoan, which was a language or typography that was created for the Krakoa era, and they ask Bishop what he says and what it says, and Bishop just goes, "I don't know, Garm, I think," which again is another really niche reference, but essentially in the very first issue of House of X, way back in 2019 when that first came out, there were some. I think they'd revealed the language in that first issue, right? And it gave like what each symbol means to each letter, and so you could look at all the letters, all the Krakoan words in the book, and figure out what they mean. But there was one in there that was mistyped or what have you, wrong symbol for what it meant. So it read out Garm instead, and loads of people were like, "Oh my God, Garm! What does that mean? What does that mean?" And obviously it didn't mean anything because it was a mistake. So again, just another like a haha reference. And obviously that's kind of like a very in joke, but I loved it. So yeah. Um, then what happens is they go in. Well, Bishop goes in first, guns blazing, and he gets murdered. So R.I.P. Bishop. Literally, haven't seen him all of from the Ashes era, and the first book he's properly in, he gets murdered in issue 2. But I just hope he gets included more post this event. We'll see though. Um, so with him dead, Rhino, who's had this whole thing about having a horn, like he's been missing his horn, so he's been using different things to replace it, and so he just grabs Bishop's arm and sticks it on his head, and then Craven and him are fighting over it, and they both get obliterated slash teleported in time. It's not exactly clear, but they're both taken out, right? They're both taken out. So it's literally just Hellcat and Wonder Man, and oh, I forgot that there was that there. Literally just Hellcat and Wonder Man. And they go in inside and they fight a few more Warlock things, and they discover that the whole thing inside this power place is a Celestial, which is one of the this is one of those like wacky things where things just get progressively more wacky over time. And Mojo's not very happy because he's like, who cares about Celestials? Who cares about Celestials? Blah 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 blah. So he ends up eventually giving in, and he makes Major Domo his like assistant, ring Longshot and be like, yeah, we'll pay whatever to get you involved because these ratings are going downhill. And that's where that ends. So again, it's another just not serious book. Like really not serious at all. If you were expecting something, mind-bending, mind-boggling from Jonathan Hickman and Jerry Duggan, then this is not the book for you. But as I said, I actually enjoyed it a bit more than last issue. As I said, I wish there were more. I wish there was more X-Men characters involved. Obviously, well, I mean, Longshot and Spiral are there, and Mojo, but like of that, the Bounty Hunter crew, the only one there is Bishop, and now Bishop's dead. So, but as I said, because I know it's a more fun book, I've enjoyed this issue, but more some of the jokes got me. Like the Rotten Dabari joke was funny. I laughed at that. The Garm joke was funny. Like, I don't know, maybe this book with all the references are just catered to me. So I guess and like yeah. So if maybe you're a newer X-Men fan, might not be as funny or enjoyable, but yeah. So that's Longshots issue 2. Uh, and yeah, that's that. So we've actually got through all of the books now, which is crazy. Um, so with that, now what I'm going to do is just check everything's up. And we'll get to everyone's favorite part of the stream. Again, if anyone has anything they want to share about any of the books, or if you're watching this and the replay, if you want to let me know how you would rank the books of this week, let me know down below in the comments. But this is everyone's favorite part. Well, I say everyone. I don't know. I'm just saying that. This is my favorite part of the stream, which is the ranking, which sometimes can be super easy, as you've seen if you've been watching my previous ones. Sometimes it can be really difficult. depending on the quality of the books. Um, but I think this time, um, I've got it sorted. So as always, we start in last place, and I think last place this time is gonna have to be Laura Kinney Sabretooth. Um, Again, there was some interesting. I, there's some interesting things about this book. I guess I do like seeing the family dynamic. I like seeing Laura and Gabby and Akihiro all in one book. That's fun, but I don't again care for Laura being Sabretooth. I don't care for her son. It all just feels a bit. It just feels a bit of a nothing burger, you know. Actually, I feel like a few like I mean, obviously, I only include a few pages, but there was a lot of pages of just people fighting. And I mean, this is an action book, so I mean, these are all superhero comics, so I guess that's. But like, some of it felt a bit. I don't want to say the word, but I'm gonna say it, fillerish. Like it just felt a bit like filler. Like I don't know, maybe we could have progressed the plot even further. But I guess the whole Laura having like a dichotomy and like, oh my God, am I actually on the right side? I guess that's interesting. And I think at least at the very least, I think where this issue left off with us being on Araco, having to come face to face with Apocalypse, I think that's that's interesting. So again, obviously I will be tuning in for the final issue. Um, Regardless, I mean I'll be doing this live stream in a month to talk about the book. But yeah, so I just felt like this just a bit was a nothing burger. I hate to say it because I hate to say it because actually because reading Laura Kinney Wolverine like the book before this, I actually enjoyed it. So I had a bit more high expectations. But yeah, that is what it is. So that's in fourth place. Um, is it improvement on last issue? I think it's still an improvement on the last issue though. Like we're going up still, but it's just yeah. Okay. So in third place, one more please. We have Binary issue 2 by Stephanie Phillips and Giada Belviso. Again, I think this was an improvement on last issue. And again, the art again is just spectacular. Like let's just appreciate this, right? Beautiful, beautiful art, beautiful colors. Yes. Oh my God, the bi fag. If there's any bisexuals watching this issue said by rights. Um, but and I think there's something interesting about the story. I just don't really care for Carol as the Phoenix. Again, we've only had Jean as the Phoenix now for 15 issues. Like again, as like Jean as the Phoenix in this new role for 15 issues, and we've already with someone else as it. I don't, as I discussed earlier, I don't really buy the whole Jean sacrificed herself to prevent the X virus from taking over space, and it doesn't line up with how that X virus has been since. I mean, as I said, it's not even gone halfway across America yet, so clearly not that big of a threat. Also, I don't believe Jean's body would like be killed by it. But I appreciated the whole Jean is the Phoenix, and she spoke, and Jean as the Phoenix spoke to Carol, and I think putting Maddie as the antagonist, obviously that surprise is interesting. There's something to be said there. Probably, I mean, we'll have to see with the next issue. Um, but yeah, beautiful art. The story hasn't sold me as much. Maybe after issue 3, I can have a bit of a retrospective. But it's just, I think the main problem is that I just wish this was a Jean book instead of a Carol book. No shade to Carol. But yeah. So that's for number 3. So, you know, still good. And again, I think it was an improvement on the first issue. Um, so there's that. Now, into number 2. Ooh, we have Longshots, issue 2. Um, which you might be surprised. I would say this isn't that much higher than Binary 2. I think it really just overtook it because it's just a bit more fun, and obviously it doesn't take itself seriously. And I think the jokes got me this time, right? So I really appreciate that. Just a bit of fun, a bit of lightheartedness. I do love, if it's done right, I do love a bit of meta commentary and like meta jokes and things like that. And I think, yeah, this one got me. It got me. It got me. It got me, gal. So so yeah. So I was all steam ahead on long shots. Now I don't think it was perfect. I don't like that Bishop was killed. Like why of everyone is Wonder Man and Hellcat the two left standing? But I guess at least we'll get to see Spiral and Longshot in action next issue. Fingers crossed. But who knows? Maybe there'll be like a twist on that in the next issue. I wouldn't put it past them. But yeah, so I just thought this book, I think, as I said, because I was expecting a sillier book now that I've read the first issue, I went in issue 2 with similar sort of expectations for that, and I enjoyed it more. So yeah, that goes into second place. And so that means, surprising, probably absolutely no one, Amazing X-Men issue 2 is again back in first place. Oh my god, first place 2 issues in a row. Will it complete the hat trick? We'll just have to see. But yeah, obviously this one book gets a bit of a boost automatically because it is like the main plot book, so it automatically is like the most important. But I think it delivers. Again, Mahmoud Azrazar again is really beautiful. Um, Always been a fan. I think getting to see the Darkchild and this interpretation of it was fun. Like this sort of cheeky, nasty Ileana was interesting, and seeing what she's done with Rhode Island or the Limbo Lands or what have you was interesting. Also, the whole like truth thing was an interesting choice to do, but we got a few reads in there. Like Darkchild got a few reads in on Cyclops, so that was fun. Also, I guess the main thing that may reveal that the whole plan to bring present day Cyclops to the future was just a lie, and it was more just to get future Cyclops into the present. You know, even though I sort of had an idea, obviously I kind of knew that that was happening based on the solicits for issue 23 already, but it still surprised me that that was like confirmed to be the plan and that this was all just like a sort of collateral, like, oh, we don't care about, present day we're going to sacrifice you, what have you. That was quite a good surprise. And I guess it was fun to see Salak reunited with the team. Um, so yeah, did I prefer this to issue 1? I don't know. I think they're about on par because I enjoyed in the first issue. We got a bit more world building. I mean, we also got world building here, but I thought I know I guess I cared more about the Grey Malkin, what happens to Grey Malkin prison, and seeing Death Dream. But yeah, and I'm interested to see what happens in issue 3. Obviously, I'm assuming they'll be straight in Philadelphia there, so they'll be right on Revelation's doorstep. So that'll be interesting to see. But yeah, again, I think this was the number 1 book of the week. Also, the one thing I will say though is we got I wish we found out more about what Revelation's plan was. I know we got this very ominous pose with him, saying the whole thing about how he wants to end the world, but like, give me some details, give me some specifics, let me know what's going on. Like, but I'm sure that we'll find out more in either Book of Revelation issue 2, which is in 2 weeks, or issue 3, or it might even be saved for the finale. I can understand that, but I'm like, oh, just we know that he's doing something bad. Just like tell me, you know. But yeah, so that's the my number one book of the week, Amazing X-Men issue 2. Let me know either in the chat or in the comments when you watch this back, if you agree with my ranking, what your own ranking was, what you thought of these books. But that's everything for this one. So if you have been watching, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Hope you've enjoyed this live, and all the previous ones. Yeah. And I guess I'm really curious as well, in the comments down below, if you let me know how you've been finding the Age of Revelation so far. Obviously, we're 6 weeks down, but you've got another 7 to go, I believe. If you include the finale issue, which is like out on the 25th, or it's like right after Christmas, around then. How we feel we're sort of reaching the midway point. How are we feeling? Let me know about that. The next live, obviously the books of this week the books of the next week will come out on Wednesday. I might do the live stream again this time on Sunday. I'll try and do it a bit more, put it a bit more in advance next time, but it'll be either Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Yeah, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, I think, will be the next one. So just keep an eye out for that. Make sure, if you haven't subscribed already, make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you hit the notification bell as well, so you get any notifications for the live streams and for any videos I'm putting out. Again, I'm in the process of editing that my Halloween special. It's going to be a few weeks late, but it's a real history deep dive. So I hope people enjoy that. But yeah, so with that all being done, again, I hope you enjoyed the live stream. If you're watching this as it's happening, if you're watching this back, hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all in the next live stream or video, which will be very soon. Take care now. Bye.